And there we go. So really consider that, above all, a demonstration of how do you take something that people have said is too profound, too bold of a suggestion, and modify it to make it works. There's a couple of things I want to point out here. And I am looking for a new resource for these, but check this out if it'll show up there. I've lost my display of me, but there we go. I had golf balls printed with Virginia hypnosis on it. There we go. Let me line that up. There's going to be a lot of references to Mel Brooks's movie Spaceballs in this teaching segment. Merchandising. But giving them something and letting them keep it. And of course, if the client's going to keep it, let them have a souvenir of the process. There's actually a fun story of these were printed far too small the first time I got them, to the point I had to call the company and say, you couldn't have thought that was what I wanted. And they reprinted them. They shipped me a new set. So the other note of it too, though, is that by linking the process to a physical object. So notice in this context, I had a method to get into it. But if people would say to me, it'd be great if I could just condition my body to be satisfied with less, we can then begin to talk through the language of shrinking the stomach size down. I don't always do the sporting goods sequence, but in the context that I did it here, where it's a standalone piece, that's often the way I would get into it. The sporting goods, the Nerf football, down to the softball, down to the baseball, down to the solid object of the golf ball. And notice the modifying language. Your body acts as that trash compactor, compacting all the food down, squeezing out the excess moisture. So even this is a beautiful word, and this should have been pointed out during the water trick. The magic of the hypnotic word appropriate, drinking the appropriate amount of water, eating the appropriate amount of food. So the appropriate sized meal could be compacted down to the hard, dense, solid size of a golf ball. Now, here's where we begin to fold in some of that supercharged stuff once again by way of embedded commands. Some people tell me they can begin to feel that tightness inside of your stomach now, and others may imagine it. Both receive the results they're looking for. So I've cast a bit of a listing pattern here. Whether you're this category or that category, we still get results. So admittedly, I started to fold that into this process early on because some people could say, wow, I felt the tightening. And others were going, I didn't. And they weren't as successful as the others. So when all else fails, apply suggestion. Some people tell me, and again, listen for the command form. Some people tell me they could begin to feel that tightness inside of your stomach now. I'm shifting the tense. Some people feel that they can begin to feel that tightness inside of your stomach now. Others just imagine it. Though I'm sure whether you can feel that tightness now or not, I'm sure you can imagine the sensation of squeezing your hand around a solid object about the size of a golf ball. Which we don't even have to have you imagine it. The client's eyes are closed. I pick up their hand. I place the ball in their hand. And as you can feel that tightness inside of your hand, sending that awareness throughout your entire body. Now, we're making use of a concept inside of NLP called analog marking. And this is clever. What am I doing here? Whenever I'm using the phrase, feel that, I'm interacting with their hand because they can feel that. As you can feel that tightness, as you can hear me speaking, and you heard me snap. So I'm giving you a sensory verifiable experience associated with the representational system. To put it simply, whenever I'm saying, feel that tightness and send that around your body. So it's a pace followed by a lead because you can feel my hand touching yours. But I'm now saying, feel that tightness and send it throughout your body. The Schwartz technique. Let's wrap up on that one. Inside of several of these, I may have mentioned the colors of nature. Again, that's a Tom Nicoli-ism, fantastic bit of patter. So the Schwartz technique. Anytime I build an anchor, I want to negate the need for that anchor at the same time for a simple reason. What if you lose the ball? I'm sorry, you have to gain the weight back. My bad. No, of course not. So instead, even though I'm anchoring the squeezing of the hand down as part of the process, that's why I then take the ball away and have them squeeze the hand down even without it. So whether you have the ball or not would be the phrasing. And the more you make use of this, the better it works. And the better it works, the less you're going to need it. Why do I call it the Schwartz technique? I have to admit, I fall asleep during all things science fiction. It's a shameful admission. but I've never made my way entirely through any of the Star Wars movies. So I get the whole reference. The Force was always strong within you. But I can quote nearly every line of Mel Brooks' movie Spaceballs, the comedy parody movie with Rick Moranis and John Candy. So, yeah, the Schwartz was the variation in that. So just as quickly as I establish the need for a special thing that makes the powerful thing happen, we negate the need for it all together as well. And it's a nice bit of future pacing to even suggest maybe after the session. I've had some clients tell me they keep the ball in a visible place, they keep it in their purse and squeeze it. But again, it's a nice method of creating that physical sensation, linking it to a metaphor, which again, the metaphor that I shared there of the gas nozzle. Well, gas doesn't spill out of gasoline cars anymore because of that safety mechanism. But the same way that the gas nozzle has that safety mechanism, you now have that safety mechanism now as well. Eating slowly enough to listen to your body, feel that change, eating positively. Wonderful hypnotic phrases you can fold in around that as well. So that is the hypnotic golf ball, which admittedly you could take that and do it without the golf ball. I like the physical prop. I like the merchandising aspect of the golf ball. Also, I just find it's a little bit more of a kinesthetic experience by doing so.